Welcome back to the Every Race, Every Car Challenge. The first thing that I'm going to do in this episode is updating the table. And I don't think first place is possible. Well, after a few hours I uploaded the first episode, an improvement was already made. Ottoman has done a successful run of Racing 101 using the city bus. He got lucky with how the first two Beetles interacted at the corner, and he was able to overtake them. The final time is tied with second place, but the game clearly says you finished first, so we can change this cell to green. Good job. Okay, we are done with the updates. A small update section, but still better than nothing. Now it's time to see new levels. In the first episode, we only saw races in San Francisco, so I'd say we should look at London races in this episode. Also, we haven't seen circuit races yet, so I think that we should start this episode from the first London circuit race. Mini race. This race is a roundabout. And I'm not joking. Three laps and 7 opponents, all mini classics. The mini classic is a pretty slow car, and this makes the race very easy to win. In fact, you can win this level using every vehicle, including the city bus. Both Ottoman and Zesty won the race in their runs, and so we can put green in all this row. Level completed. Amazing. Next one, around Westminster. Pretty simple race. After you turn right to collect the first checkpoint, you basically follow the road until the lap is over. Two laps and 6 opponents. 4 mini classics and 2 London cabs. Just like before, the opponents are pretty slow, so this race is still easy to beat. In fact, most of the vehicles can win with ease. In the circuit races, we can take full advantage from removing the trailer of the fire truck, since these races are pretty long, with the only exception being mini race. Here I removed the trailer even before collecting the first checkpoint, so in this way the fire truck is faster and easier to control. Despite the time loss at the start, you can easily overtake all the opponents and win the race. The trickiest run is the one with the city bus. The mini classics can be easily overtaken, but the London cabs are a bit more difficult. The key point in this race is at the end of the first lap. Here the opponents slow down a lot, and we can use this moment to overtake one or both the London cabs. As I said before, this is the trickiest run, but definitely doable without huge mistakes. Okay, you can win this race using every vehicle, so we can put green and say goodbye to this level. Goodbye. Moving on, view from 2 bridges. This race is quite long. You cross the bridge, go around the Tower of London, go straight for a bit, turn right, left twice and then right again, go towards the Houses of Parliament, go around it, take the bridge and go left, go right and left, then go left and right, take the checkpoint and go right and left. There is an alternative route. After the second bridge, go left, go inside the underground station and exit to the other side. Go right at the roundabout and then turn left. There are 6 opponents, all London cabs. As I said, this race is very long. Luckily, you have to do only 2 laps, so overall it doesn't take too much time to complete the race. The cabs are not super fast, but this race is quite harder than the other 2 we saw before. As usual, fast cars can beat the race with no problems. I removed the trailer of the fire truck right at the start, so the race wasn't too bad. I almost lost the run just because I took the alternative route and this happened. Despite this, I still won the race. The double-decker bus was pretty hard. You need to drive perfectly to win. Even hitting a curb can end your run. Still doable though. And then there is the city bus. You will hear this line a lot of times in this challenge, trust me. This vehicle is too slow to overtake the London cabs, and there are no particular ways to shortcut the race. The only known shortcuts are around the Houses of Parliament, since you can go on the grass instead of going on the road. Unfortunately, these are not enough to overtake the cabs, so we need a different strategy. But before that, I need to talk about a game mechanics. In Blitz or checkpoint races, if you destroy or drown your car, it's game over and you need to restart the race. The same things apply to the opponents, so if their car is destroyed or they drown, they cannot finish the race. In circuit races, if you destroy your car, you will get 5 seconds of penalty, but then your car will be repaired. If an opponent is destroyed, their car will also be repaired after 5 seconds. But here it is the difference. If you drown, you will respawn at the last checkpoint you collected. If an opponent drowns, it will not respawn, so it will not be able to complete the race. So, the strategy for this level is to push all the opponents in the water. Luckily for us, there are 2 bridges that we can use for this. The tower bridge can only be used once, since in the first lap we have no time to position ourselves before the cabs arrive. So my strategy is to use the other bridge, since we can use it twice. Luckily for us, when the cabs arrive at the bridge in the first lap, the bridge is open. In my first attempts, I was trying to block the opponents and make them fall in the middle of the bridge. However, after some attempts, I've discovered that it's more effective to use the bridge as a ramp. So, instead of blocking the cabs, you just need to manipulate them to steer away from you. If done well, the cabs will fly into the river. In the first lap, all the cabs will arrive almost at the same moment, so it's hard to do this strategy for all of them, but at least the first one is easy. The fact that there are only 2 laps in the race is actually a bad thing for this strategy, because more laps means more tries. With this strategy, on average 2 or 3 cars will fly into the river, but to get an easier second lap, we need at least 4. In this way, in the second lap, we need only to push 2 cars. If we don't do anything, the first one will arrive when the bridge is closing, but we can still use it as a ramp. The problem is the second one, since it arrives when the bridge is closed. For this reason, I drown and respawn at the beginning of the race and block the second car for a few seconds. In this way, the car will arrive when the bridge is open. I need to be careful and not touch the first cab, otherwise it will arrive when the bridge is closed. You can technically block both vehicles and get them while the bridge is fully open, but it's risky, so I prefer not. I think that you can also use the tower bridge at the beginning of the second lap. I thought about this only now, I don't know if this is actually a good spot. If everything goes well, when the cabs arrive at the second bridge in the second lap, you will be able to push them into the water. After all the cabs have been pushed, you just need to complete the race. This race took me a lot of attempts because I was refining the strategy while playing and because you need to wait a lot of time between attempts. So, this level can be beaten by every vehicle, even the city bus. Marvelous! Next one, parks but no parking. This race has all the checkpoints around Hyde Park. Right after the first checkpoint, we can cut on the grass to reach the next one. The next corner cannot be cut because there is a checkpoint there, so we cannot skip it. You can cut on the grass near the Wellington Arch. The problem is that some cars may hit the curb, like the GTR1, and it doesn't save so much time. The biggest cut is at the end, since you can completely avoid this sharp turn by just going on the grass. Three laps and 6 opponents, 4 London cabs and 2 new Mini Coopers. This race is pretty easy thanks to the small shortcuts at the beginning and at the end. These 2 cuts are enough to make the level beatable by the city bus. In fact, both Ottoman and Zesty won the race in their runs. As usual, if the city bus can win, you can win with everything. So, another green row and another level completed. Wonderful. Next, City Circuit. Wow, what a race name. After we start, we have to turn right. Then right again, slightly to the left. Then right again. Then a pretty sharp turn to the right. Instead of following the intended path, you can cut on the street with the parked cars in it. At the end, we have a very sharp turn to the right and then the lap is completed. We have 3 laps and 5 opponents, all new Mini Coopers. This race has a lot of turns and a few pretty sharp ones. This means that the AI will slow down a lot to turn, while we, as humans, can preserve as much speed as possible. So this level is pretty easy to win, even with the city bus. Both Ottoman and Zesty won the race in their runs, and they didn't even use the shortcut. So yeah, not so fast opponents and sharp turns helped a lot in this race. Another green row and another level completed. Brilliant. Next one, Underground. The gimmick of this race is that you need to drive on the tracks of the underground trains. So, after we start, we need to enter in the underground station. Then we turn right, we follow the train tracks until the circuit borders. Then we turn right twice. Then we need to exit the underground at the first station that we encounter. Collect the checkpoint and turn left. Turn right and the lap is over. This is the intended path, but this race has a huge shortcut. If you haven't noticed it, there are no checkpoints in the underground. The game checks the progression in a circuit race by only looking at the checkpoints. What do you do between checkpoints is ignored. As you can see from these 2 examples, I can take any path I want. The game doesn't tell me anything like wrong path or wrong direction. Of course, in mini race the intended way is better than this, but in underground we can improve things a lot. Since there are no checkpoints in the underground, we can completely skip it. Instead of entering the underground, we can go right after collecting the checkpoint. Then we go right again. Then we slightly turn right here and go directly towards the next checkpoint. After we collect the checkpoint, we need to do a 180 turn and continue the race as normal. Even though I didn't do a good 180 turn, you can already see how much time we saved compared to the first lap. In the third lap it was better, but it can still be improved. However, for our scope, just having this shortcut is enough to make the level easy to win. Almost all the vehicles can do it without problems. The hardest one is, of course, the city bus. Ottoman got second place in his run, but Zesty got first place. In his run the opponents got stuck on something, so I tried the level myself, just to see if it's actually beatable using this shortcut. And the answer is yes, so you don't need to rely on luck to win the race. So, another green row and a level completed.
Wow!
So, in this episode we saw the first 6 London circuit races. All the levels in this episode were beaten by everything, but I still want to encourage you to try to improve the state of the table for the levels that we saw in the first episode. I'm sorry for taking more than 1 month to upload this episode, but I was pretty busy during this period. Unfortunately, I think that you will have to wait another month for the next episode for the same reason. I hope to make new episodes more frequently in the future, maybe after episode 3. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. Bye.